This, believe it or not, used to be Ripley's NatWest Bank. Closed down 6 months ago, it was due for demolition. But today, workmen have been preparing to give it a new home. By winching all 18 tons of it onto a lorry and driving half a mile down the high street to the car park at the village hall. But the local history society wanted to save it, and the bank gave it to them for free. You've had your fingers crossed all day, haven't you?
I have had my fingers crossed all day, and it is a great relief to see it up there in the air. I just hope it comes down all right.
Moving history doesn't come cheap. This entire operation costs about £10,000. The History Society only has about £5,000 at the moment. Perhaps they can go to the bank for a loan. The bank will trundle to its new home at 6:30 tomorrow morning to avoid traffic congestion. It'll become a museum next to the village hall, which the History Society definitely don't want to save. Ken Andrew, LWT News, Ripley.
It's now 6 o'clock on 26th of April 1992. It's damp and drizzly after yesterday's sunshine. Ripley High Street is now closed, and the transporter is starting the slow journey 600 yards towards the village hall at no more than walking pace. The police were clearly enjoying themselves, with their car and motorbike leading the way. The journey was uneventful until we approached the old police station. We knew beforehand there would be a problem because of some telephone cables across the road, which were just below the height of our building on the transporter. We persuaded British Telecom that it would be very good publicity for them if they could help us. So 2 BT technicians were in attendance, armed with very long poles, and they lifted the cables one by one so that the transporter could pass safely beneath.
I guess after that it was all plain sailing.
No, actually, there was another problem as we approached the village hall car park. This time, completely unforeseen. It wasn't quite as easy as we had expected, in that the transporter could not turn into the car park as we approached.
Of course, it's a long vehicle, isn't it? A very long vehicle.
It's a very long vehicle, and we just had not anticipated that there could be this problem.
So how did you deal with that?
Fortunately, there was a lay-by in front of the old police station, but there were cars parked there. All but one, they were quickly removed by the owners, but the police had to break into the one that remained, which was a Mini, and they moved it out of the way. Thus the transporter was able to drive into the lay-by and then turn into the car park. The police then moved the Mini back to its original position, and the owner probably never knew. They told us we were not supposed to be watching, and we certainly shouldn't be filming anything. Even then, the entry into the car park had to be done very slowly and carefully. Once positioned inside, the 70-ton mobile crane followed soon afterwards and took up its position to be ready for the final lift.
Of course, it wasn't just craning it up and craning it down again, was it?
The preparation for the move took several months and involved the construction of a new brick foundation at the new site. This had to be done leaving gaps in the brickwork to clear the lifting frame when the bank was lowered into place, and they were filled in afterwards.
The crane was really big, wasn't it?
It was. It had a hydraulic extendable jib which could be used for much, much greater heights, but for this particular job the jib was extended to about 50 feet. It was a great relief to find that the alignment of the building on the new base was perfect to within 1/4 of an inch. It was also a great relief that the whole operation went so smoothly with no perceivable damage.
I heard you lost a tile on the way.
Well, nothing was ever found and nothing was ever proved, so we forgot all about that. It took us over a year before the building was restored and completed for its new life as our museum. The foundation had to be finished, new flooring was fitted, we put a new office area in and new access was provided, and a costly power supply had to be installed.
There was quite a lot of money involved, wasn't there?
We embarked upon the project knowing that the final cost would be approaching £10,000. This was far more than our existing funds would allow. So we had to put various fundraising ideas to work. The biggest contribution we had came from Charles Forte, Lord Forte of Ripley, of the Trust House Forte hotel chain. He and his wife gave us £2,000. So naturally, he was the ideal person to perform the opening ceremony, and this he did on the 25th of September 1993.
This is how the museum looked in 2014. The poppies commemorate the century of the start of the First World War.